Thank everybody for coming tonight. Mayor Kay for hosting us, Aqueduct Authority for putting this on. We all know how important this water line is to all of us for 1,000 different reasons. We know it needs to be done, so obviously they're going to work with us, and hopefully we'll all get the information we want as the project moves forward. So again, thank you all for making the time to come here and again get informed. The information is always the best thing that we can always get. So that's what we'll get here tonight. And who am I handing off to?
Greg first.
Mr. Greg. All right, thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Greg Velez, and I am the Executive Director of the Florida Keys Aqueduct. And we are responsible for what you see out there today. We have so far, and you may have different ideas about this, we're very pleased with the progress that we're making. We're now getting into the area that's going to start affecting some of you, and for that we apologize. But we've put together a phenomenal team. We have Corey with Michaels. We have Aaron, who is with South
Florida Engineering Services.
South Florida Engineering, and he is our guy on the ground. He basically works for Florida Keys Aqueduct as our project manager. We have Richie from Gianetti. We have Justin from Topino's. I'm sorry, Scott with Michaels also, and David from Wade Trim. And Lori, I'm sorry, from Conceptual Communications, who's out there making sure things like this happen. We have staff here from the Aqueduct tonight, and basically we just want to come here and give you the information that you need. We have everything here, from plans to timetables to what our thoughts are on how this is going to go, and we'd like to hear what your thoughts are on how it could go better. So I'm going to turn this over to Aaron, because he knows a whole lot more about this than I do. I just wanted to welcome everyone, and we're here for you tonight. Just let us know what it is you need, or what we can do, and we'll be glad to try to make it happen. Aaron.
Thank you, Greg. All right. Thanks to everybody for coming tonight. I'm going to use this microphone because we are trying to do a recording, so I know it's not a big room, but I'm going to talk through this. I just want to first thank the Florida Keys Aqueduct Authority, Greg Velez, as well as the Village of Islamorada Chamber of Commerce for putting this together tonight. The main goal of our meeting tonight is, like Greg mentioned, we want to get you guys information, and I've got a really short presentation, but the bulk of our time tonight is going to be a question and answer session with all of you guys. So everybody who has a business, we have a plan in place to make sure you guys have access, and that's what we want to put the bulk of our time towards. I did bring plans with me tonight, so we don't want to bog everybody down with any specific questions, but if you have a real unique specific situation at your business, after the meeting and after all the general questions are over, we're going to stick around here tonight, and we'll talk with each and every one of you in front of your business. And if we can't resolve your issue that way, we also have a team that goes ahead of the pipeline a week ahead that will meet with you on location, and we'll work through a solution at your business, okay? So with that, I'm going to go ahead and get started. This is a really short presentation, and then at the end, we're going to just open it up to you guys through a question and answer session. So everybody's here tonight, as you know. You've seen the project outside. This is the Islamorada transmission main replacement project. We're here tonight to give you an update. Just briefly before I get started, we have about 4,000 feet, just over 4,000 feet of pipe already in the ground. So they started near the service road, and then we're right around Square Grouper. If everybody knows where that's at, that's where the end of the pipe is. And we've been in the roadway for 3 weeks? About a month in the roadway. So they've gotten the MOT, the maintenance of traffic. You guys have probably all passed through it. It's dialed in. It's moving. I'm here just about every week, and it's rare that I even get held up. So I think these guys are doing a really good job, and they're also here to help me tonight. So if you guys have any specific questions, I'll turn to them on that. So some of the introductions Greg already mentioned, but obviously the owner of this project is the Florida Keys Aqueduct Authority. Greg Velez is the executive director. I have Peter Gomez here tonight as well, and Peter Gomez is the chief operations officer for the Florida Keys Aqueduct Authority. Ashley Roberts is here tonight, if you want to wave, Ashley. She's the public information officer for the Florida Keys Aqueduct Authority. The design engineer on this project is Wade Trim, and they're represented by David Mullen. I'm the construction manager for the Florida Keys Aqueduct Authority, and I'm with South Florida Engineering Services, and our public outreach firm is Conceptual Communications with Lori Ernest Jones, and our contractor is Michael Pipeline, and Michael's is supported by Gianetti and Topino, so they're a team that's working together. And we don't want to forget our local agencies, the Village of Islamorada, who's helping us put this together tonight. We want to acknowledge them, as well as the Florida Department of Transportation. So this pipe is going in under their roadway, so they're vital to this job as well. So what we're looking to get accomplished tonight, I'm going to give a brief overview of the project. We're going to talk briefly about the sequence and schedule. We're going to go into some of the construction impacts and traffic control. We're going to tell everybody how to stay up to date and involved with the project, and then we're going to turn it open to you guys for a question and answer session. So this first map that I'm showing on the screen right now, this basically represents the different segments of our project. Everything that you see in yellow represents the open cut pipeline installation, which is the spiral welded steel pipe. So if you guys have seen the pipe stacked on the side of the road, it's blue pipe, it's big, long, 50-foot sections of steel pipe. That's where all the yellow area is. The purple area you see at the bottom, and I'm sorry about the mic, this is where they're doing subaqueous crossings, which if you guys seen that a little bit bigger pipe, it was black and it had a blue stripe down the side, that's HDPE pipe, and that's specifically designed to go through a directional drill and go under the water. Now those crossings don't impact traffic because they're drilled, in the water. And we have another one of those that's at the north end at Well Harbor Crossing, and that's supposed to happen around November, December of this year. Okay. One too many there. So those of you who don't understand kind of what's going on, this just gives you a little bit of an elementary idea. The water source for the Florida Keys is in Florida City. The water comes from the Biscayne Aquifer, and then there's another additional aquifer that's a deeper aquifer known as the Floridian Aquifer. But both of those sources are in Florida City. So that water from Florida City has to get treated, and then it gets pumped all the way down to Key West. So that pipeline is a very high pressure pipeline, especially the further north you get towards Florida City. It has to have in some places near over 200 psi. For that fact, we need to make sure we have a pipe that's rigid enough to withhold those pressures, and that's why we're putting in this type of material. But basically, the Florida Keys Aqueduct Authority's top priority is to provide drinking water uninterrupted. And they pump nearly 20 million gallons a day down from Florida City down to Key West, and that happens every single day. This project to replace some of these aging pipes. Now, we have pipe in the ground that's 40 years old, some of it's even 60 years old, but it needs to be replaced. And there's grant funding through the state as well as federal grants. But the old pipe is corroded, it's past its life, and it's starting to have leaks, and I'm sure some of you guys have experienced some of those breaks that happen. The Florida Keys Aqueduct Authority has done a good job of being proactive and trying to get out in front of that. So that's why we're all here, to just get this pipeline replaced before we start seeing more issues with the existing main. So to be helpful, so everybody can understand and not have to read a big long schedule, we've tried to put together this map and just color code it so everybody that has a business can kind of see what's going on. Now, the one thing I don't have is business names here, but I do have mile markers, okay? And I have colors. And basically this first phase that we're in now, if you got right about here is where we're at, this is square grouper. That can kind of give you guys an idea of where we're currently at. And then we're planning by June to be into this purple phase near mile marker 81. Okay, and then if everything continues to go as scheduled, you guys can kind of see where your property and where your business is, and those representative color areas will be where we're at. Now the goal is to get through the main pipeline, the main line, which is just a big blue pipe, by February, the end of February of next year, which is really, really aggressive. And our contractor is working 24 hours a day, basically 6 days or 5 days, sometimes 6 days a week to make this happen. The goal of this is we have to get this pipe replaced but we want to do it in the quickest way and with the least amount of impact for your businesses and your properties, and that's why, you know, we've assembled this team. But we can come back to this if you want when we do the Q&A sessions. If you guys have questions specifically in front of your business, we'll do that. There's a small piece down here on the other side of T-Table Crossing that they're gonna have to install, but most of that area is out of the roadway. I don't think you're gonna have MOT for that. All right, so just briefly on the project schedule, and this is another image here where you can get an idea of what the installation looks like. Now, this area wasn't in the roadway, but it still kind of shows you what the operation looks like. So for this year, for 2023, the contractors expects to get basically 150 to 300 linear feet per day, and they're doing that in a 24-hour working day. They have 2 shifts. Basically, the day crew is installing the pipe. The night crew, for the most part, is doing trenching and then backfill restoration. Some of the rock that you see and the compaction that's going on there, they're trying to do that at night just so they're not wasting time during the day so that they can keep laying pipe during the day. So that's the approach on the project. And you know, basically a 12 to 18 month period that will get us through the mainline stretch. Then next year, there's several master meter crossings that have to cross the roadway. There's actually a couple of crossings that loop into the other side of the road that we have to do. But you won't see a lot of the, you know, the MOT train that you see now, but there will be some work that carries over to 2024, and there's going to be a paving operation because they're basically going to mill that entire lane that they're in on the bay side and have to overlay that. DOT's requiring that so that the road will be nice and restriped and everything when they're done. And then depending on how the project goes, there may be some final punch lists and striping at the end of or beginning of 2025. But we're looking that we may even beat that schedule. So this is a moving target. This image I like because it just shows kind of why we have to, you know, take up the other lanes. They have approval through DOT to provide 2-way traffic, but instead of having the turning lane, they basically have a northbound and a southbound all the way on the edge of the road, okay? And then the pipeline, the existing water mains basically on the far edge of pavement. Our new pipeline is going here, and then we have to have a little bit of a buffer to get the construction equipment and everything in place, and then that's why we're squeezing over to the 2 lanes for traffic. But even the ability to be able to do that and keep traffic flowing is such a plus because there's a lot of projects that, you know, aren't that fortunate. But there's some minor details I'll run through on here. So basically they're working Monday through Friday, 24-hour work. They're making sure that their work does not take place on the weekends unless it's minor restoration on a Saturday. But major holidays, like we have Memorial Day coming up next week, the contractor is going to stop on Friday. It's my understanding the MOT will be taken back, and then it won't be put back into place until Tuesday night around midnight. So we're going to leave the lanes open that entire stretch. So bike lanes are accessible. There is a crossing through the construction zone.
What is MOT?
Oh, okay. Let me explain. Sorry. And I will open up some questions, but MOT is maintenance of traffic. Okay, that's MOT. It's just temporary traffic control so that we can bring the traffic through the construction zone. So where you see the barrels and cones and all that, that's what we'll refer to as MOT. Okay, and then traffic impacts, like I mentioned before, they're supposed to be lessened by March of next year. Now, I don't know if anyone reads drawings in here, but I did want to just show one slide that shows kind of where the water main pipe is located. This kind of shows the center line, that dotted line shows the center of the roadway. So you can see that our pipe is mainly in the center of the, I'll call it the southbound lane. And then when we get next year, we'll be putting in some of these crossings. So when you see equipment setting back up next year and you're thinking, hey, they've already been here, what are they doing now? They do have some of these master meter crossings to put in. And then this little X or cross patterns that you see, that represents where the asphalt will be milled away and new asphalt will be put down. So you'll have that throughout the job. But this gives you an idea of the location, and it's kind of interesting, this dotted line is the existing main, so we have to keep a certain distance from that so that that main is protected during installation. Okay, so this slide just shows the approved traffic control plan that they got through FDOT, and I know it's hard to see this, and you guys can come up and look at it if you want to see specifics, but basically you guys have probably passed through this already. There's a taper that sends you to the other lane until you get past the construction zone, and then it sends you back. But this is just showing how, this is kind of a rolling zone where you see that thick red line, and they're basically going about 1,000 to 1,500 feet in a section, and this is moving up. What the contractor's trying to do is that we don't want to be in your business longer than we need to be. So they're hoping to maybe 2 weeks, okay, they get in there, they trench the rock, they put the pipe in 1 week, the second week they're putting backfill material and rock in place, and then they're paving behind it. So they're hoping to just be in front of your business for 2 weeks in each one of these zones. And I think what they're trying to do is get asphalt almost every day. So you'll see kind of 250 feet or so of asphalt each time they lay pipe. So they'll just slowly creep up, and they're not just stuck and parked in front of your business. And some of you, could maybe even plan if there's a special event or something like that going on, we can kind of give you that information and you'll know when they're there. And once they get there, it's really 2 weeks is kind of what you want to plan for us to be in front of your property. All right, there is some shoulder work, so you'll see this as well, where there's cones, but there'll be full free-flowing traffic along with turn lanes when they're in the shoulder. So as far as staying informed, we're doing door-to-door canvassing, and what that means is along with these meetings, we have a team that's part of the contractor group and the Florida Keys Aqueduct Authority's field representatives, that they go out and knock door-to-door and just make sure that each person's business, they want to make sure, do you have one way in or out? They'll talk with you, they'll try to figure out if you're a restaurant, what your delivery schedule is, what your busy period is. Maybe you're a marina that has boats that come in and out. But these guys are moving ahead of the pipeline crew, they're being proactive, they're talking with each and every one of the business owners so that we have a plan that's specific to your location, because the contract requires, and we're very adamant about this, that through the duration of this project, there's access to your business in and out. Now, it is construction, and you guys have seen it. There's dust, they have a water truck, they try to keep that down to a minimum, but it's dirty, it's messy, and there's some night work, and some people, who have hotels and things like that. We're sensitive to that, and we want to make sure we're doing everything we can to make it as less impactful as possible, but it is construction, so we're just asking for your continued patience on that. But if you want to contact FKA customer support, we put that number up here, and you can email, community@fka.com. And before I forget, I want to make sure everybody who hasn't signed in, definitely sign in, because you can get on a reoccurring email list with information, and Lori will kind of talk with you guys on how to stay up to date with that, but she's got that information back there as well. We have a 24-hour hotline where you can call this 305-296-2454 number. So if you guys ever have an issue, and they got people working 24 hours a day, so call that number, somebody will talk with you and they'll work through that issue. Michael, superintendent, I guess might be Corey's number. We have his number listed here as well. He's the main guy. There's a big team here of construction contracting people. The buck pretty much stops with Corey though. He's on top of it. I work with him every day. He's on it. So if you have an issue that raises to that level, certainly feel free to call that, and we'll all work together to address your concern. So real-time updates are being shared on FKA's Facebook and Twitter pages, so you can go on their social media. It's at FKA Water. If you want to follow along with the project, there's posts on there. And I think they're sharing images, and so if some people are seasonal, if you want to follow along, you can certainly get information there. And then we're going to continue to do project alerts via text or email, and you can learn more about that process at fka.com, and you can speak with Lori about that as well. So with that, just two minor things. We've gotten a few questions about, well, how do we connect water and all that. There's going to be a whole team that talks you through that with FKA once the line is placed into service. We got a little bit of time before that's going to happen, but FKA has a team. Right now the main goal is to get the transmission main in. After that, they'll do the master meter work, but there'll be a whole team and outreach and everything that will explain to you guys on how to do that, and it's usually done with minimal disruptions. And as I mentioned, all business special ingress and egress requirements, we'll meet with you one-on-one if we need to, if we can't figure out your game plan tonight. So with that, I want to thank everybody.